I just had a few little points that I wanted to show you guys. You guys have your phones with you?
Yep.
Take a look at your phone and tell me what you see in your list of wireless networks available. Do you guys usually, when you come here, you log into KCTCS-guest?
Yeah.
I usually, not really.
There's the employee one, the guest high speed, the one with the last string of characters, Yana's phone, and wireless AV demo.
I have logged in as the employee.
So did you notice anything different about that list?
Yes, there is this random weird, someone made that network.
Now that may be somebody's hotspot, but there's one that's listed in a very common name, but it's different than what you're used to seeing.
Is it the public?
No, KCTC
The
high
high
speed.
speed, the high speed.
KCTC guest high speed, that's the one.
The first time you glossed over that, you didn't think a thing about it. You read straight through it. You didn't think
No.
anything about it. That is a rogue access point. It's running in my backpack. It's running in my satchel.
Wait, so if I use this, you'll be able to access everything on my phone?
I love these guys. Okay, I'm gonna come talk to you guys more. So here's the opening scenario, and I've got a big Prezi there that I used to present at Changing Classroom Cultures, but I'm only gonna pick a couple parts of this because Stephanie's gonna kick me out of here very, very quickly. She's really mean, so I love you, Stephanie. I'm just kidding. So here's the opening salvo scenario. How many of you guys drink coffee? How many of you, okay, let me ask this again. How many of you guys drink caffeinated beverages? Oh, okay. that gets everybody. So, has anybody heard of Starbucks?
I do.
Here? Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
free Wi-Fi is.
Here's the problem. When you join a public, free Wi-Fi network, you need to be excessively careful what you're doing. You need to be excessively careful what you're doing, because you have people out there like me that will do the following to you. They will set up in their satchel. They'll walk in their nice clothes. They'll look very presentable and professional. They'll put that satchel down. They'll plug that rogue access point into the wall and leave it in. Nobody can see it. They get their laptop out. They get their cup of coffee. They sit down as if
They're just working out.
nothing's out of order. Just this morning, this is the list of victims from that rogue access point.
From here?
When you join my rogue access point, I'm going to immediately start gathering information on your machine. I get your IP address, I get which subnet you live in, I get which access point you joined of mine. I also get things like the make and model of your machine that you're logging in with. I know that you have an Apple iPhone 9. I know that you have an Android LG 777. I also know your MAC address. That's bad, by the way.
Yeah.
So from this very limited amount of information, I can catalog who my target is. Now this is where we just get started. When you join my wireless access point, the attacker's wireless access point, they give you free access, no strings attached. Remember, first time's free.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, yeah, but that's not connected to the internet. The problem with this is that it actually is connected to the internet. It is set up through a proxy server that sits at the laptop. So they are connected. You connect to that wireless access point, but everything that you do, no matter where you go, is going to go through here, through there. At this point, what we've seen happening out there is that you'll flip on join your wireless network on your phone or on your laptop. You'll start Chrome or Firefox or something like that to jump on the internet to do whatever it is that you're going to do where you are, but you're immediately redirected. Something cool like the Starbucks homepage or the Starbucks menu page or something like that. So you end up getting something like so we already talked about that one. You end up getting something very mundane that looks like Starbucks menu page. Hey, how hard is it to duplicate that website? View the HTML source, copy and paste all of the text from the HTML file into your own, save it as yourself, make the changes that you want to, and you have a clone of their website. By the way, you get these phishing emails. It is so easy to do that.
You just change like where the link.
Yeah, it's so easy to do that. But your start page goes here. But this Starbucks page is actually cooler than normal. They've really stepped up their game, and they've gone ahead and they've added some Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter links for you, so you can just quickly get right over to there and you can post about the cool things that you're doing at Starbucks. Problem with it is that those shortcut links to Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter live there.
So if you click on that and if you log in, so they'll be able to track your password using everything? They'll be able to see that?
I will watch it in real time from the coffee shop. Now, you're like, so what? They're going to hack my Twitter account. Great. Here's where we think about the next step. We're going to assume that you use that username and or combination of password everywhere. Game over.
We got key lockers and they know exactly what all your
We don't
stuff
need
is.
one.
Okay.
We just go log in as you now.
Alright.
Yeah, that's kind of bad.
But I mean, most of these app, they have the security tab, like, you know, your personal information, all that.
Not, now, if you're talking about your banking sites and stuff like that, all of your up-to-snuff modern banks have a second and third layer of authentication that they require, a text message to your phone or something of that nature. However, some banks can be tricked because I have lots and lots of information about your phone.
That's what you first logged in on.
And then also for
Really, somebody really good can actually possibly redirect your communications temporarily from your phone to them. Now, I don't have the ability to do that, but it can be done. So, the question that the last talk that I gave, they're like, yeah, but Mike, what if you went to some website that you didn't have loaded on your laptop, like something obscure, like DodgeTruck.com or something like that? That's where pass-through is allowed, and you can go to the normal internet as normal. Maybe a little slower, you know, because you're going through a proxy, but you can have this happen to you and it be virtually seamless and nearly impossible to detect. So what we've done is we will have a very long list of cloned sites that we've got. We're going to choose some very specific ones: U.S. Bank, Chase Bank, blah, 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 blah. From your social media profiles, from your phone number, from the information we grabbed from you when you log in with us, there may be enough information for them to gain access to bank accounts and, you know, sensitive information that could allow them to do things even up to create your identity and use it.
That's why I don't put anything on social media.
So does a VPN protect you from all this?
So what a VPN does is, do you guys know what VPNs actually do for us?
They bounce your IP around through several servers.
Massive.
So yeah,
Real IP.
your actual host communication from your laptops, for example, is actually a proxy to a remote server somewhere else in the world, and and only temporarily. It's why VPNs are a little slow. You know, they kind of slow things down. They basically send and receive your traffic from multiple points across the globe, so that you don't have a footprint that stays put for very long, and it makes it much more difficult for attackers to see your direct machine. In some respects, a router and firewall does the same thing. And the problem with the VPN is that a VPN does not protect you from an internal attack of your box. If I have your information and I have something, for example, a keystroke logger on your machine, or I have some remote protocol service that allows me to see your desktop remotely, a VPN doesn't help you.
Oh.
No, but I guess,
Now, you can't be attacked from the outside very easily.
well, I mean, I'm super careful with what Wi-Fi's. I mean, it bugs me that I have to log into KT.
We're pretty safe.
Well, but the guest account, because everybody in here is probably on
Oh,
the guest
sure.
account. So with the right stuff, somebody else could also get right on that unsecured wireless and see my stuff.
It's a little harder to do that without some fairly serious work. We can gain some information about others on wireless networks, but it's really hard to just flat out knock the front door down of somebody else's
But
machine,
I mean,
for
people
example.
are smarter than us, though, you know, out there.
If your machine is, and this is where we move into quickly, best practices for your computing devices. Is your virus protection up to date? Do you have a working firewall software, a host-based firewall on your machine? Do you have the right defenses in place to make it difficult? Because I'm going to tell you, almost nothing's impossible with this group of individuals in the world.
I kind of
Passwords, complex, randomly generated, small letter, large caps, numbers, and special characters with no real words in them are critical. And long ones. 12 characters doesn't work anymore.
So use the Apple suggested password.
Those are pretty good. I even have my misgivings with using suggested passwords from sites because I don't know where they were sourced.
I mean the Apple one.
Right.
The one that if you're on an Apple device.
I'm not 100% sure I would want to trust it though. I would want to come up with one myself. What I do is I tend to use some fairly complex passwords myself. I'm usually sitting at, if I'm allowed to, 24 characters. They're randomized, but I have a mnemonic that helps me remember the long password. It's a lot easier than it is. You know, it's because there are things like you learn in college. Now you don't want to use this, but this is a good example. Big brown rabbits often yield great big vocal groans when gingerly slapped. Now, anybody that's ever had any real technical stuff in engineering understands, wait a minute, that's ROIGI, that is the resistor code for electronics. It tells you the different resistances for electronics, but you can come up with something like that in your mind and add a number or two, put an exclamation point at the beginning or the end of it, or an underscore, and you have a very complex password.
So, you know, I have a few more questions about the Wi-Fi. So, you know, if you're traveling and going somewhere, Spectrum has their 8 million hotspot right now. But some Spectrum, you would see the same one, but without that lock sign, you know, not secure. So people would log into that.
Wow.
So someone who tried to do that would be able to get all the information then.
So these mobile hotspots are kind of new to me. They're on my list down about 300 or 400 things that I want to get learned before I can get to them. But they scare me to death. Just from the immediate point that I'm not exactly sure how a cellular company, a tower company, disseminates wireless signal security, you know, in some safe fashion. Without, if you can, just like the people that I've seen, you can just literally just hop on the hotspot and you're good to go. No authentication, no security checks. They don't care who you are. That bothers me.
So it's like if we go in the public library, they have a free Wi-Fi too in there. So if we log in on the phone, possibly if there's a good one, you know, like as you mentioned earlier, they would be able to get on our phone everything, like we're doing. So you got to.
If you log into my wireless network, I will have you.
Everything.
Everything that I want, everything that you'll give me, I'll have. Now, if you just get on the wireless network, I can do what's called penetration vulnerability testing on your machine. I can go at it. I can brute force things. I can dictionary attack you. We can rainbow table attack you to try to find any vulnerabilities that your machine may have that gives us an in. We don't usually want to work that hard as attackers, though.
But it's like when you put it on airplane mode,
Low hanging fruit.
I heard that it will restart your IP address of the phone. So since that little, is that true? Like.
The problem with that is that the IP address of the phone doesn't matter because they typically change all the time anyway.
What's your MAC address now?
And to us, IP means absolutely nothing. We don't. As long as you have an IP address, we're good to go.
Right.
What we're trying to attack is the services portion of the operating system, where credentials need to be used to access parts of it, like any shared drives that you've got on your machine. If you've got a home group at your house where your pictures can be shared back and forth across and things like that, we want to attack that.
So it's like, okay, one more thing. So I have an old computer that I want to sell and get rid of a new one, and I see thousands of people putting pictures of their front screen with the detail, their serial number, all that. Will you be able to get the information from what I used to do before, from that serial number or that MAC number that I put it on?
Typically, if you sent that via some type of social media account or things of that nature, attackers wouldn't necessarily directly get access to that kind of stuff. But if you took that picture and you stored it on the drive, there is a virtual 100% likelihood that if you sold me a used computer that had an intact hard drive in it, that had an operating system installed on it in the past, I will have every last 1 and 0 off that drive if I want that in short order.
Even after doing a ghost?
There is no guarantee that complete wipes are 100% effective. Now you can deban them. You can use software to write ones and zeros over till the cows come home. There's no consensus in the security community that there is a perfect method. No, that's good. That makes it much harder.
I know secret drives actually have to be demagnetized, physically destroyed, but the unclassed drives usually get overwritten a few times.
There's two physicists out there. One of them recently passed away. One of you may not know. His name's Kip Thorne. The other guy's name's Stephen Hawking. You ever heard of that guy?
Yeah.
So they've got a dollar bet as to whether or not information can be destroyed. Period.
So what would be the best tips or advice if you're selling your used computer?
Don't give that hard drive up. If you have any inkling that you've ever done anything on that machine that may be compromisable, don't give them the hard drive.
But I mean, if you're selling a laptop, how would you take, like, let's say Mac?
Put them a new put them a new hard drive in it, and sell it with a new hard drive. Charge them an extra $100. Hey, it's got a brand new hard drive in it, upgraded.
But you know, like this new computer right now, they're very, very thin. It's like everything's slotted in there. So it'll be more expensive to sell it than send it. You know? I mean, to get a new one.
We can still get access to the parts of most of your modern laptops, but it takes a somewhat specialized set of tools to do it. But there's YouTube videos out there, and they're pretty easy to work on. They're not terribly difficult to work on. There's only one way to really truly is by the Hawking argument. There's only really one way to make the information unreadable on a storage media.
Destroy the house.
You have to turn it to ash. Use a hard drive chipper. You ever heard of that? There's like a paper shredder that actually will shred hard drives. You have to put it into a condition that makes it impossible for our modern technology to get it back. Now, Kip Thorne says that, nope, there will be a technology given into the future. They'll be able to go back and sweep that up and put that right back together. He's probably right. Of course, Hawking's argument is, I'm about to go nerd here, Stephanie. Hawking's argument is that during quantum entangled particles that are created in the universe, and they disperse pretty quickly, if they are created on either side of the event horizon of a black hole, one falls in and one jumps out, the information that fell in is destroyed. That's their argument. You know, can you destroy it? Can you put one drop of red dye in the ocean and come back in 1,000 years and get that drop of dye out of the ocean? The answer is yeah. We can't do it.
But it's possible.
But someday.
So that goes against the current argument to relate this back to film is the only true archival is back to tape because there's no such thing as a digital archive.
That's interesting to think about it that way.
Because if you can store tape, physical tape, put it in a humidity controlled, temperature controlled storage vault, whereas a hard drive, if it crashes, if it gets demagnetized, so many things can go wrong and you've lost all your footage. That's why a lot of the film archives will take your digital media, put it back into some kind of tape.
That's very interesting. Of course, what we do in IT is that, of course, we're not going back to tape. You say tape to somebody like me, I'm going to throw up in my mouth a little bit. Because it's such a pain in the neck. And it's unreliable. It's mylar. It's susceptible from everything from magnetic sources to doggone cosmic rays, and it's a real threat. So what we do typically is if we have digital information that we know is mission critical, we're going to have it in at least 3 separate sites. 2 of these sites are physically separated away from the backup that's local. So we'll have a backup here, and we'll have a backup way over there, and a backup in some other country, potentially, something like that. And we call it the asteroid schema. So we're protected, barring everything but an asteroid collision. And but that's kind of interesting to think about that, and I'm interested to think that they're actually still using some tape.
So when I say tape, I meant like film.
You mean celluloid film?
Of course, I'm thinking tape backup.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's really interesting. So they'll put it back on like 9mm tape or some film or something of that nature.
There's a video out there that I don't know if I could find it, where somebody's transferring archiving footage, and they start screaming at the hard drive, and you can actually see the quality degrading every time they scream at the hard drive.
Really? Okay, I want to see that. That's pretty interesting.
And I had one more question about the phone. So let's say you join the free Wi-Fi, as you mentioned earlier, that has no thing, and it's working, and then you went home, turn off your phone, and then it's been like 10 minutes almost, and then your phone is still heating up. Is there any possible way that the person is actually getting your information from your phone, and your phone has been heating up since then?
It would be a lot harder. It's a good question. It would be, of course, once you leave my wireless network, my rogue network, it gets much harder for us to find you.
Mhm.
You know, at that point, am I going to say that that's an impossibility? Heck no. It probably falls a little bit outside of what I can do as a white hat hacker. And going back to the earlier argument, once you, and that's how I can finish up today actually, once you make yourself less available, they don't want you anymore. Low-hanging fruit. We want easy targets. Most of the time, or at least some of the time, an attacker like this guy, yes, and they'd love to see you log on to Etsy so they can steal your credentials for Etsy, get your bank account linked to it, change your mailing address, have fun, P.O. Box time. Oftentimes, if it's a serious threat and you are up against an organized crime syndicate, and that's what these groups of people are. It's their profession. That's where it gets somewhat scary, because they'll find you, they'll get all the information they want, they'll dig and they'll dig and they'll dig and they'll dig and they'll impersonate you and they'll find out everything that there is to know about you and your life. But the problem is they're going to find out about everybody else in your life as well. And then they search for high-value targets. You have an uncle who was a real estate mogul. And they realize that through your channels, they can glean information about that individual that makes them a much more attractive target, something worth working for. And it gets pretty scary.
I guess probably a good topic for this group is social engineering. Because I know I get the thing, and my background's military with the top secret clearance, so I have to go through some training a lot with all this stuff. One of the things that we have to be careful for is, and I'm old, so I still have Facebook, but Facebook. So I'll get friend requests, and I have to have a vetting process to accept a friend request.
It's wise.
Because ISIS, Al Qaeda, Russia, China, South Americans, whoever, will create a fake Facebook account just to get friends with soldiers, people who may do. Some of the pictures I put out there, of course, there's nothing in there that's classified, but there's enough that you could engineer some things through to figure out maybe where I've been, who I know, what I know.
That's how the CIA does it.
Yeah. You go back to what you're taught with a gum wrapper out in the field. If you leave a gum wrapper, the enemy finds it, they can tell 10 things about you just with a gum wrapper. Means you're well
So it's like when terrorists put out their manifesto films, where they're very careful
And especially like this
to
place,
cover the environment.
you know, like this right now, as a technology, like if you take picture in some place, they'll show like what time you took, what location where you're like, and then date everything, and then your phone, like smartphone, tracks you like everywhere where you go, what time to what time, what period, all that. So it's like hard to create some kind of crime or do something while you're having your smartphone with you.
You got to be mindful, don't you? You really have to be mindful. Which I mean, it brings me perfectly up to the close about don't be the injured gazelle. So don't be that girl or that guy that becomes the easy target. The last thing that you want to do is do things, for example, go post on Facebook that, yay, I'm in Costa Rica for a week, super, hope somebody feeds my dog,
Or traveling to Costa Rica from this town to that town.
Or taking pictures at the beach and you've got your entire family with you. Yay, we'll be back next Friday. This is bad. It's bad. It's bad. And you're like, that's not going to happen to me, says the graveyard full of people that said that's not going to happen to me. So how do you protect yourself? I mean, very basically, to sum it up, be careful on social media. Watch what you do for real. That's one, if you've been targeted, that's where they're going to go. They're going to hit your public profiles. Passwords are important. Long strings of complex, randomized, updated firewalls. Don't join public Wi-Fi unless you absolutely know. Ask the counter, is this your all's Wi-Fi network? Or else you could get somebody like me that offers a high-speed network of the same name. And you saw how many people I've duped just this morning since I've been here. It's like 40 or 50 nodes have tried to join.
So even you went to like public places, they would be still able to do it because the Wi-Fi, you know, you don't need any password or anything to join.
Yeah, as long as you're in range of me, you don't drop off that wireless network, you're an easy target. Now you leave my wireless network, it's much harder for me to come get you, of course.
But I mean, you'll be still to get it. Though. You'll be able to. Still
I'll have all your information cached
Uh-huh.
it's all going to be stored at the proxy.
What sort of antivirus do you recommend?
I typically have been a Kaspersky guy for a while. I protect most of my enterprise stuff with some Kaspersky. My home stuff, I don't typically care.
Right.
Kaspersky just got decertified by, I think, NSA.
They still write really good algorithms, though.
Because they were, found out it was being sourced out of China or Russia.
Yeah, they still write really good. They write really good algorithms, and I don't see them as a direct threat. But they don't like it that they work closely with, quasi-terrorist regimes. And the thing about Kaspersky is that they're in it for the money.
We got told to get rid of it if we had it.
Well,
So when you said like be careful on social media, like what do you kind of?
don't post that. If you're going to Costa Rica,
Oh,
wait
okay.
and post your pictures after you get home.
Oh yeah. That's,
Do you find this job to be like fun?
oh.
Because it kind of seems like
She knows that I don't truly work for a living. I play with toys all day. Sometime you guys just need to walk up to 204 and 205 and I'll show you my playground.
204 where?
204,
No, just
second
go
floor,
for it.
204 and 205. Just look through the window. That's my playground. That's all I do every day is walk in and play with that stuff. And I break it and make the folks fix it. And I have the best job in the world.
204, 205.
Hopefully I get to keep it.
We talk thumb drives, removable media. Don't ever pick one up, put it in your computer to see what's on it.
Yep. They just actually indicted a Chinese woman for entering one of Donald Trump's golf club, country club things. She was carrying a laptop, 3 cell phones, and a handful of flash drives. Of course, she said she was just there to go swimming, yet she was not in possession of a swimsuit. You tell me what.
Oh, I heard that.
It's the same type of attack that would have taken, it's the same type of attack that hit the Iranian nuclear program with something called Stuxnet. And they think that was injected with flash drives into machines, read telemetry, it spun the centrifuges up faster, kaboom. Made a big mess.
We had a virus go through the whole, I won't say whole, but when I was in Afghanistan. And they think that it was probably a thumb drive, or actually they may have found out that it was a thumb drive. That somebody had dropped a thumb drive and somebody else saw it and went, oh, somebody lost their thumb drive, let me plug it in and see who
Man,
it
that's
is.
nefarious.
And once that virus got on that person's
Crawl time.
computer, virus spread pretty much across.
Time to crawl, yeah.
It ended up on, and
That's awesome.
I had pretty good antivirus, and because we had a shared network that we all shared to game on or exchange pictures and stuff, and it made its way through our whole company.
Not detected. So it's called a 0-day threat.
It finally got detected, but
It's
it took a while.
It's a code threat so new that virus definitions don't recognize it as a threat.
So even you eject the flash drive, right around, okay, so let's say you have this old computer that doesn't have your network that you're logging to, and you eject the flash drive on that computer, and then now you know the flash drive is clean, and then that has virus earlier, someone put it there, and then you put it on the computer that you had network, will it still get the virus over
So
there?
if you quote format a flash drive in any way, form, or fashion, you've wiped the data clean.
Uh-huh.
You've flagged it for rewriting, or you have literally wiped the IC memory of the flash drive, and then it's most likely safe. There's no guarantee. But yes, once you format a flash drive at one given machine, an old machine not connected to a laptop, it's probably okay. But it's probably okay.
I also found, they have found thumb drives with back doors that were manufactured with the back door in it.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Wow.
So
With
everybody
extra
uses that
chip
flash
memory,
drive.
yeah. Okay, that's all I've got, guys. Anybody got any further questions? I'm gonna get out of here. Stephanie's giving me really mean looks right now.
Mhm.